Welcome back, lawn lovers. BW here again. I thought I'd give flower gardening a try this year, so let's go. I've done a lot of container gardening with pepper plants in the past. It was the first lawn or garden hobby I ever tried. I have more old containers around here than I can point a shaky camera at. So let's fill some up with flowers this year. I ordered a bunch of flowers from the church. They sell them to generate funding for one of their youth organizations. It's a beautiful thing for all of us. Here's what I have for this year. There's a bunch of Coleus, purple Petunias, Geraniums, Salvia, purple Prince, Begonia, Scaevola, a yellow marigold, and others. I don't know my flowers well, so I'll learn as I go. I have all these pots to spread out, and then I can get started. I hope this steppy thing will work well as a potting bench, or my back and legs will be sorry tomorrow. I also brought out a piece of plywood, in case I need a place to set some extra potting soil. And I have a new bag, if I need a little more. I think I'll start with the bigger pots. I'll just reuse the old potting soil. First I pull any weeds out of the pot. Loosen the soil. Add some fertilizer. And mix it all up. That's all the fertilizer the plants need for the whole season. I think I have enough plants to put 2 in these larger containers. The plants come with some kind of a netting on the soil. Some people take it off, some leave it on. My advice would be to take it off if the soil holds together for you, and leave it on if the soil falls apart. These seem to be holding together for me, so I'll take them off. Well, that takes care of a geranium and a calibrachoa. This sandbox I'm standing in came with the house when we bought it, over 30 years ago. It used to be the home of a children's swing set. I have never measured the amount of fertilizer I use, but it's about 3 or 4 heaping teaspoons, depending on the container size. The amount isn't critical, just mix it into the soil. I'm using some starter fertilizer for grass seed I have left over. You could also use any 10-10-10 fertilizer or any other garden fertilizer you can find. Remember that slow release or organic fertilizers don't work right away and work best in the second half of the summer. There are enough organics in the potting soil for later in the summer. I'm saving the 4 large pots in the foreground to plant some butternut squash seeds in. Their vines will spread all over the sandbox by summer's end. Caring for the plants is a breeze because they get watered every time I water the lawn. I rarely ever have to give them extra water. The biggest job will be weeding the sandbox occasionally. That's no fun, but I'll have to do that even if I don't plant flowers. If I did this on a patio, I wouldn't have to do the weeding, but I would have to hand water them all the time. And now for the butternut squash seeds. The directions say to plant them about 1 inch deep. Well, that was fun. It didn't take very long, and it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. It only took me about an hour and a half, including setup and cleanup. That steppy thing was a real back and leg saver. Now I have to find a place to hide all these extra pots. Then arrange the potted plants in the sandbox and give them some water. I planted some more purple petunias in a large pot in front of the house, along with a salvia, or midnight candle. Unfortunately, the salvia plant died rather quickly. Let me introduce you to my new flower garden. Scaevola and Begonia, Coleus, Marigold and Ipomoa, Coleus, Geranium and Calibrachoa, Coleus, Geranium and Calibrachoa, Coleus, my butternut squash seeds, Alternanthera or purple prince, Begonia and Scaevola, and Petunia purple. I can't wait to see how they grow this summer. What, you can't either? Well, lucky for you then, because here's how they grew. Here we are about 2 months later on July 1st. They're looking good. I'm really glad I planted these this year. I wish I had taken some video in mid-August when the squash was thriving and flowering, but I hadn't expected a severe outbreak of powdery mildew, and I lost my chance just as the garden was peaking. The squash is growing now, and I planted the marigold in one of the pots where the squash failed to germinate. And Begonia, the Scaevola died. And here we are, another 2 months later, on September 5th. Things are getting slightly overgrown now, and the squash is suffering from powdery mildew. When the squash vines were healthy, they covered the entire sandbox and prevented me from weeding. Next year I'll plant a mildew-resistant variety. And here we have some minor squirrel damage. The petunias were beautiful all summer, but are looking pretty worn out now. The begonias still look amazing. The coleuses get as big as our pots will allow. I did, however, manage to get quite a few squashes out of those plants. I moved a coleus and the purple prince up to spend the summer on the deck. Here's a marigold I started from seed. And the purple prince. And finally, here we are another month later, on October 2nd. I cleaned up all the old squash vines, and the garden looks pretty good again. Even the petunias are flowering again. I really enjoyed these flowers this year. I think I'll do it again next year and try some new varieties. Now get out there and have some fun in your garden. And remember, you can do it.